Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the new stuff both on Global as well as JP for War of the Visions. And yeah, I haven't been making a ton. I guess I should just clear the air a little bit about, videos kind of dropped off a little bit. It's probably Final Fantasy VII Remake related, and it actually mostly is. I had also a little bit of health problems, so I have not been able to make a ton of videos lately. I'm hoping to kind of ease back into the swing of things, but yeah, just so you know, it's been partially because of the remake, and partially just for health stuff. Anyway, I hope all of you guys are doing well because, anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at some of the Japan new characters and whether or not they are any good or whether you should be saving for them in the future. And we will also be taking a look at Fred's card, which I'm surprised. I really am. I am actually surprised about this one. And I also want to talk about Guild Wars. So let's start off with Frederica's card, because that thing, I was not expecting it to show up on Global, period. It is literally like it was a Christmas event card where Frederica had her banner and it was around Christmas and we had some Christmas special units, and then this thing popped up. And I was almost dead certain that it wasn't going to show up in Global. Geez, I wonder now if the Christmas units are going to show up. Christmas in April? I mean, this year's pretty bad already. Why not? But anyway, the Frederica card, is it any good? And is it any good for units in the future? I gotta say, overall, I think that this card is specifically good if you are looking to run gunners in the future and more than one gunner. And more importantly, if you are just all in on Frederica. This is basically the best card for her. I mean, if you take a look at just its effect, it is a shooter effect. It just powers up gunners' attacks, and not only that, but it also works towards the thunder element, which is a big part of Frederica. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It is a really good card for her. It will benefit others in the party who use shooting style attacks such as Lucia. So if you're looking to go in on gunners, this card's really good. There's also a big difference between this and Japan. Japan's was limited. It seems like Global's isn't, or at least that's what I've heard. And don't ask me how I feel about that. I'm actually quite friggin' annoyed. If this continues on Global, I'll be even more annoyed, because this should just be, it should be parity for both sides. But the fact that this was limited for Japan and not for Global, that kind of sucks. Anyway, if you're wondering about whether or not you should get this card, like I said, if you're all in on Frederica, fine. But if you're like, is it worth breaking the bank over? Probably not. These cards, especially when they are permanent addition to the pools, tend to show up when you don't want them to. So one copy is good for now, if even that. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend going crazy for it, but yeah, it's pretty much ideal for Frederica. All right, and now with that being said, let's take a little quick look-see at the two newest characters for the Global, or for the JP side, Ayla, and as well, I can't remember, what were we calling her? Or what is the translation work out? Lobbies. So yeah, this is our new character. You can see her limit burst animation playing right here. And I mean, first of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I am not a big fan of her design. I get it, fantasy, narrative trope, whatever, but man, it's just, in terms of battle armor, it just verges so far on the ridiculous. And to that extent, I'm not a fan of her. I'm just not. But how does she perform overall? Alright, so overall, in terms of Oldor, I guess that's what we're calling her. Wrong one. Here we are. Oldor's overall kit is pretty strong. It is very much physical focus. She has a lot of HP and a lot of attack. She is capable of dishing out a good amount of damage And she is Wind Element, meaning that she can take advantage of some of the more meta units that in the fact that they show up a lot, such as Mont, or the more recent addition on the JP side, Kryl, who is one of the strongest characters currently. An Earth Element mage who's just kind of, yeah, she's just really strong. So Oldor is definitely strong. That is, so much is said. She has high slash, attacker, damage power. She also has a really good amount of AP. Her abilities are just quite outright powerful, and actually has some good alignment attacking with other allies because, you know, slash is pretty darn popular right now. So the biggest problem that I have to say that I have with her is, and others seem to be having with her, is mobility. Mobility seems to be a big thing. She just doesn't have a lot of it. Some of her attacks do have range on them, but I don't think it's necessarily enough to counteract the fact that she is just going to be probably outpaced by a good amount of other units, and she will have a harder time getting into range. I would say that, yeah, I'm not crazy about her. Just a move of 3, a jump base of 1, and just ranks in one of the lowest terms of mobility. If you are interested, it seems that most people are early on thinking about choosing the Viking path because the Viking does have some range, to counter the fact that she just doesn't have a ton of range in some of her abilities. But her Viking class will give her a good amount of range so that she can still hit enemies. But yeah, speed is the biggest issue. So I'm going to say that this one is a particular pass for me, not just because of the design, although I am not a fan of her design even a little bit. I made the joke on stream that it was like the artist was designing her armor and got the shoulder pads and the legs done and was like, you know what, the middle part, I'll come back later, I'll finish it off. And that was kind of where the development stopped. Either way, yeah, just TMR, taking a look at her TMR, maybe. Again, I don't think that this is anything really incredible in terms of its stats. It's pretty low for HP. It has some aim and some critical, but nothing really that amazing. And while the AP boost is definitely nice, I'm just saying no to this unit. And the second one is Lobbies, and oh my goodness, Lobbies was the one that I was really excited from the most recent story event, and I'm super excited that she is a lower rarity, meaning that she was easier to get. Alright, so what is Lobbies, now that we've said it? Well, here's the thing. She is a Thunder Elemental tank type character, but interestingly, she is a dodge tank. Yeah, that's right. Both her master ability as well as her overall kit really focus in towards being an evade type unit. And that is cool. That is really cool. Her classes include Paladin, Thief, as well as Samurai. I've been waiting a long time to get like a interesting Samurai. And for anybody who's wondering, yes, I am 100% building this character. Absolutely. She has the Thief class, which is very highly desired because Thief as a subclass has things such as Steel Heart as well as Thief's Knowledge, and that just makes, like, Thieves have been proving that they are really good with abilities such as Steal Time. She also is a tank with the Strong Master ability, an avoidance rate up, but not only that, she actually has an AP consumed down ability by 20%. So not only does she have some passives that give her evasion and everything, some of her great abilities such as Sword Soul, Virtual Image, and Missing in the Dark also get a little bit of a benefit, as well as her attacking abilities that just mean that she doesn't have to use as much AP. And AP down is pretty darn interesting. So where do I think this girl's weakness is? Very, very, very clearly, I think that the biggest weakness is her element. Kryl is one of the top mages, and she is omnipresent in a lot of teams. She is with the earth element, she is always going to have an advantage against Lobbies until something kind of pushes Cryo a little bit more out. But yeah, I gotta say, this is one of the more interesting units to come out in a while. The specifically high dodge base unit, which is something that interested me at Ziza at the very start of when I started playing War of the Visions. And cool, I'm just really excited for this. Not many people have really thought about how they wanted to build her, but it seems that Thief is probably going to be the a big attractive point for people, or as Paladin, depending if you want her as a tank or as, kind of support. She's got a really good amount of HP, is something which is standard for a Paladin, but could make her a pretty good unit in long-term fights. She also has a really good, pretty good overall evaluation, especially for an MR, so good. From there, just to talk about this overall banner, it's okay. I don't think it's particularly great. Lobbies was the really interesting part for me, and I got her off one multi-pull, and I'm pretty content with it. This is not the UR character is not one that I'm interested in building, partially because I have Lucia and Ayla already eating up wind mats, but also just because I'm not a fan of her design and her low mobility kit. I just don't think that her high attack power will overall make up for it. Could be wrong, but for now, I think it's a pretty easy pass. As for Lobbies, I think she's really interesting, and yeah, super glad I got her, and will be building her, if not TMRing her, which reminds me, that is something, if I can get the game to actually. Sword, 66 HP, 117 attack, and 10 evasion. An evasion-based sword for an evasion-based unit? Yeah, that's an awesome TMR. Absolutely freaking awesome. Okay, now the last thing to talk about with, in terms of global though, as we've gone global, Japan, global, well done, is Guild Wars. Guild Wars is starting very soon for global players, and I am not 100% certain on the details to do with global, mainly because I don't think there's been posted any details, so for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that it is the exact same as what Japan got. And so what is Guild Wars? Well, Guild Wars is a daily challenge. That's right, you do have to do it daily. And yeah, that's already getting into some of the problems I have with it. It does run every single day. You have to make sure that you go into your unit set page where you set your teams, and there will be a new tab in there where you'll have to set both an offensive team and a defensive team for Guild Wars. Now, the other thing is, obviously, you have to be part of a guild, and your guild, I do believe, needs enough members to partake in it, but other than that, that's basically it. Now, every day you will have about 2 hours, and this time is set. I don't know what the official global time is yet, but it doesn't really matter. It should be approximately 2 hours, although it could be longer, seeing that global kind of spans more time frame, so they should hopefully extend it. But in it, what you will do, you will go up against a team daily, and you will try to, every fight that you do, if you kill all of the enemy team, you get 3 stars. If your team dies, you get 0 stars, or maybe 1 star, depending on what your performance is. If you kill only one of the enemy units and your team dies, then you get 1 star for your team. And what should be noted as well is that HP as well as AP as well as TP are all preserved in between fights. So if you go do a fight like this, emulator's having a little bit of trouble tonight. Could be because of the update. When you do this, all of your stats will be preserved, meaning that how you go about these fights is a very important decision. If you just bum rush one of the strongest enemy groups in the enemy's guild, you could end up with only one person surviving from your team, and you cannot change it. Basically, you are locked in with your 3 characters on your offensive team until it is over. When the Guild War is over, your units refresh for the following day, and then you just get to start all over again. And it is a daily thing, meaning that you do have to do it constantly. And that is one of the biggest things that quickly, I think, wore out a lot of players who wanted to play the Japan version, because Guild Wars does operate in like the middle of the night for a lot of English-speaking countries, so it's pretty hard to get it done every single day. And that is another thing. I am not a fan of Guild Wars for a couple reasons. One, the rewards aren't super important. That is a good thing, obviously, because, hey, you don't have to worry too much if you don't get it done. You can just simply, hey, well, next day, well, I guess I'll just play again and try and see how far I go. And this is probably going to result in us dying, but... Oh, there, we got Fred. Okay. And I've kind of lost my train of thought. The reward that you get for doing this every day is essentially guild coins. It is not important even in the slightest, as you can get guild coins just from playing every single day. As you rank up, as your team beats more teams, you will go up. And for the first little... And from memory, from the first few days, or the first few weeks in the Japan version, it was a pretty good thing. But it really does overdo it by just having to be there every single day. So yeah, before you global players start playing it, you should know that it is just a daily thing. The time frame can be inopportune for some people. That's based on Japan, but we'll see what global's time frame actually is. And not only that, you have the opportunity to do 2 battles per day. You don't have to do 2 battles per day, but you can. By doing that, you will earn stars for your team. The team with the highest amount of stars at the end of the period will be declared the winner and will go up in terms of ranking. And the other thing is, in between those 2 battles, health as well as AP as well as DP is preserved, meaning that you should pick carefully about which teams you want to fight, because the teams you want to fight are, well, they could just really mess up your team, and then you'll have a lot more difficult second battle. So choose wisely. Other than that, my general feeling about Guild Wars is it's tiring, it's not very exciting, and it's much like the other PvP in the game. It is just whale-based. Oh, and I should also mention that it is AI controlled. It is just like regular arena, it is AI controlled. You do not control anything, you do not get to make any decisions, and that also kind of makes it a little So yeah, I think I covered everything that I wanted to say about Guild Wars. I'm not overly crazy about it, so there you go. To discuss the brand new global vision card, as well as Guild Wars, and the 2 new Japanese characters added to the game. And so I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.